Hey y'all, quick note. While My Hero Academia was created for kids, this podcast is not safe for work or children. All trigger warnings and spoilers for each episode can be found at our website, myheroanalysis.com. Thanks for listening.
Hey y'all, this is My Hero Analysis, a podcast about My Hero Academia, aka Boku no Hero Academia. We are three grown adults who mine Japanese children's cartoons for serotonin because God knows our brains aren't making it naturally.
Hey y'all, my name is Fern, and I have been sitting on a headcanon for 2 weeks because I wanted to share it with Maria and Nicole at the same time and get y'all's reactions simultaneously. So here it is. I'm just going to launch into it. So, you know that thing on TikTok where if you heat like the bottleneck of a wine bottle, like right under where the cork is, you can get the cork to like shoot out?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, imagine Katsuki and Shoto at a party, and Shoto has the idea to try this and see who can get their wine cork out first without breaking it. Because you know Katsuki, he can't resist a challenge. And I imagine they have like 6 wine bottles and they insist on doing this at every single party. And there's like a running tally.
Yep. And Shoto's just over to one side with like 2 fingers on the bottleneck, and Katsuki is next to him struggling with the wine opener and just growling at it because he's a small little dog with too many feelings, and then Shoto wins every time and Katsuki goes home early.
I feel like because you know neither of them know how to operate a wine key, so they're just going to use heat.
Yeah. And then Katsuki tries to explode it off because obviously, and that doesn't work. There's glass everywhere, bro.
Yep. Just imagine the chaos. I love it.
I love it. It's wonderful.
Izuku just in the corner, like, guys, stop, no.
Guys, I have truly calm down. I have it right here. You just pop it.
And then Momo's like, oh God, my carpets are ruined. They're exploding like $60 bottles of wine.
And Momo's just like, oh dear. Oh no.
Yep.
That just hurt my soul. I usually spend about 25 to 30, between like 15 to 25 on a wine bottle. And for me to spend 60, I would have a fucking conniption.
And just imagine these little teenagers coming through, stealing it for their silly little competition, and you're just in the corner like,
no. These are full-grown adults. This is when they're in their mid-20s.
Oh yeah,
they're
for
still
sure.
Pulling this shit.
But also,
they would still be crying.
They never not are teenagers though, because they're so traumatized. They just stay as little dumbass little teenagers, just with a little more responsibility and bills. Assuming they have bills in that universe.
I mean, isn't that us, Eddie?
I was going to say, isn't that all adults? Like, I feel like people hit 16 or 17 and they're like, that's it. I'm not going any further.
Yes. My point. You have made my point for me. Thank you. I'm Nicole.
Yeah.
I don't know about our listeners, but January has been kicking just my mental ass and my physical ass. It's just been a month. And then today I went to Walmart, reorganized my bookshelves, took my cat to the vet. She's fine. She just needed her shots, get vaccinated.
Yes.
And now I am here halfway through a giant Frappuccino and also halfway through a box of sour candy cubes that are not sour at all. And I don't know what to do with my hands. They're like 2 little claws on my desk. So that's where we are. Hi. Hello. Oh.
I guess you and I are on the same boat. Hey everyone, It's Maria. I decided I wanted to watch my comfort movie yesterday, and I took a nap, and today I've just been laying on the couch questioning my life choices, playing Animal Crossing, watching scary movies. I don't know what I'm doing with my life right now, but
you are living the life. That is the perfect Wednesday.
Yeah, that sounds delightful.
It is. It was very delightful. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to go out into the world, which is really weird for me.
Yeah, it is.
Well, every few months you do hit like a breaking point and then you're like, nobody talk to me.
Well, I guess that's where I'm at right now. I'm just like, people, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Mood. That's me all the time. So now we have empathy going.
Yeah. Well, I am the extrovert of our group. So when it comes to me, it is a little bit of a mental drain. But anywho, I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that segue, by the way.
You're welcome.
Beautiful.
So this week we're covering episode 5 of season 2, which is the cavalry battle finale. In the manga, that is chapters 29 and 30. So again, I'm going to lead us through a brief synopsis. And then this time I will remember to hand it off to Nicole for discussion topics, manga differences, and Easter eggs. So just to leap right into it. So the episode opens with a recap of the previous episode, as per usual. So just to summarize, Izuku is a big target. Everyone's throwing down challenges. Everyone's attacking Izuku's team. And all of this culminates in a face-to-face showdown with Shoto. We also do get a brief clip of Trashneta's team, which is Trashneta, Shoji, and Sue, because Sue and Shoji are pragmatic. And although Trashneta sucks, occasionally he has a semi-decent idea. So they decided to team up with him. But they lost their headband, and they've decided that to make up for those lost points, they're going to charge at both Shoto's team and Izuku's team at once. And then everybody else just follows their example. So that's where we start.
Yep. And like Shoto is strategizing as he like goes for Izuku, and he tells Denki to do something. I don't remember what, but as Denki does that thing, he is also looking straight at Shoto's booty while he says, "Oh, I know what I gotta do" in the English. And that it's just, oh, these teenagers are,
oh my God.
Denki. Oh, and Shoto didn't even notice. So
no, I didn't notice. I totally missed that.
Yeah, I didn't notice either until I read the note and I like paused it and I looked at it and I was like, yeah, he is looking at the booty.
Yeah, he is looking at the booty of the handsomest boy in the class, like according to canon.
Yeah, according to everyone in the class.
Yeah.
So so basically what Shoto's team does is they completely immobilize most of the competition in like just a few seconds, and we get this glimpse of their teamwork setup. So Ida's in the front and he's using his speed to move them around. He's providing like enhanced maneuverability. Shoto's their team leader. He's doing all the strategizing. Kaminari is using his shocking powers to be offense, and then Momo is both defense and support offense. So Kaminari shocks everyone with Momo's help. She creates this conductive pole, which she then shoves into the ground, which allows Kaminari to shock everyone. And then she also produces a non-conductive blanket that she throws over her team so that they don't get shocked. And then after everyone gets shocked and they're kind of briefly immobilized, Shoto freezes everyone while they're recovering.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the points where Momo really starts to shine, in my opinion. It's been stated that she's super smart up until this point, but the fact that she was able to produce two things almost simultaneously to amplify her teammates' power and also protect the rest of the crew is pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. She's one of the few female characters that actually gets a semi-complete character arc, and I cannot wait to discuss that in later episodes.
Yes.
And then while all this is going on, Aizawa points out that Shoto learned from the beginning of the obstacle course race, where he tried to do the same thing, where he just froze everyone in place so he'd get ahead. But people managed to dodge his first ice attack. But this time he did it after they were shocked. So he caught them while they were unaware. So he's definitely learning from his mistakes.
Yep. And during this commentary, President Mike compliments and support him. And you just love to see husbands supporting their husbands.
Mm-hmm.
We do love supportive husbands.
God, yes. Their dynamic is just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, while everyone's immobilized, Shoto steals a bunch of headbands. And then he isolates his team and Izuku's team from everyone else by constructing this massive ice wall around them.
Yep. And as I was watching this, I wasn't really paying attention to Shoto's strategy because it was just perfect. So there was just not much to analyze. It was just like, he does this and it works perfectly. It's great. I was focused on the fact that the rivalry, like with Class 1B, started so much earlier than I realized. Like when Shoto freezes them all, like that's when everybody is like, okay, now we have to beat 1A at everything else. Children.
I think we were just all too busy focusing on baby Izuku and the gang from the get-go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're very distracting. Yeah. So meanwhile, while Shoto's doing all of that, Izuku's team is in trouble because their tech is starting to fail. So they have to rely more heavily on Tokoyami and Dark Shadow. They were using them for defense only. Now they got to use them for both defense and offense. And we got a breakdown of Tokoyami's quirk and how he interacts with Dark Shadow. And also kind of how Tokoyami won Izuku over, because Izuku was able to see the defensive power that Dark Shadow has without having to be explicitly told. So he was like very impressed by that. And Tokoyami's like, oh, well, if you notice that, then maybe you're worth joining. And then we also get our first glimpse at Dark Shadow's kind of fluctuating personality. Yeah,
and in the dub, he says, violence solves nothing while they're fighting, and Denki is kind of kicking his ass. So like, poor little guy. He's struggling. Also, once again, I made a completely off the wall point in that the English voice actors for Tokoyami and then Yuri from Yuri on Ice is like the same person. And I just do not understand.
That totally fits. Oh my God, they're both so broody.
Sorry. So different though.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, in terms of personality, I could see it.
Yeah. So I think this is where I fell in love with my emo son number 2. It was really interesting to see the limitations of Dark Shadow and how he has his own personality separate from that of Tokoyami. I like to think Dark Shadow is his alter ego, but that's like beside the point.
That's an interesting question, though. We'll need to discuss that at some point, maybe in a bonus episode.
Yeah. Well, Tokoyami gets a lot of like little arcs. So we have room to choose where we want to do that.
Absolutely.
And also just shifting from Tokoyami, we like the animation goes from Izuku's eye to Katsuki's eye. And that is just like big time Bakudeku shipping moment. And like Horikoshi really can't choose in this arc what ship is the overarching ship for the, was it Kiribaku? Is it Bakudeku? Beku. Ew. I don't like that.
Beku. Or Tododeku. Yeah.
Tododeku.
Yeah, you just they're all there. And this man, sir, honey.
He really loves an incredibly complex social web. He really does. But yeah, so as Nicole mentioned, while Shoto and Izuku are having their little face-off, Katsuki's team and Monoma's team, they're having their own significant confrontation. So we get a recap of Monoma triggering Katsuki, not okay. And then interestingly, both Monoma and Katsuki receive criticism from their teammates about their behavior. So Monoma's team wants him to be more sportsmanlike and stop triggering people. And Katsuki's team wants him to calm the fuck down and stop making decisions out of anger. But the main consequence of like Monoma and Katsuki like having their little bitch off is that Katsuki gets this like renewed commitment to being what he calls indisputably number one. Which is definitely going to come into play into this arc's conclusion. So Katsuki doesn't just want to win. He wants an All Might level ability gap. He wants like the literal version of that 10 million points.
Yep, he sure does. And just my poor son, he needs power to eliminate his own vulnerability, and he just can't see it yet. And this poor child.
He a mess.
Yeah, big mess.
Oh yeah, poor kid. So then we get a mention from President Mike that 5 minutes have passed and there's less than a minute left of the competition. And despite being hemmed in by the ice wall that Shoto created, Izuku's team is still evading Shoto's team by positioning themselves on his fire side. which he refuses to use. And this also prevents him from using his eyesight, because if he does, he's going to harm his own teammates who are in front of him.
Yep. And like, no one wants your abusive commentary endeavor. This is the first time he speaks, and just no.
All I put was just like random words.
Just key smashing.
You were key smashing your feelings.
I will reveal all my feelings next episode.
Yes.
But I am like holding it in. I've been holding it in for quite some time. So
it's gonna be great.
Yeah. To summarize, Endeavor speaks, and of course his first words are him insulting his own son. So whatever.
Yep.
Moving on. So Izuku and Shoto are kind of at the stalemate. And then Ida gets frustrated with this, and he gets desperate enough to pull a hat trick. And he pulls out a special move called Recipro Burst, which is basically just him. It's basically sprinting, but like the engine version of sprinting. So he basically blows out his calf engines in order to go super, super duper fast for a very brief period of time.
Yeah, all I could think of during the scene was like, Fern, your son is doing a thing.
Correct. It was great, and it was very smart. And then, so Ida's getting pumped up, and then Ochaka is getting similarly pumped up. And this kind of like triggers a realization in Izuku that he's not the only one with a stake in this competition. And then his determination is also renewed, kind of like how Katsuki's was. But this time he's not just renewed for himself. He's determined to win for his teammates. And this triggers one for all in one of his arms.
Yep. And also Ochako's crush causing Izuku to have a strategy moment is just peak clueless gay.
As a clueless gay, I concur.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
We understand.
Yep.
So then both teams are just pumping each other up, and they just rush at each other and they collide, and there's this very nice sketch. So Tododeku shippers make some noise because it's very Tododeku centric.
Yes. And also the poly ship has officially sailed.
All aboard.
Toot toot. So like
now I need fan art of Tododeku Baku Kiri as a steamliner. Okay, listeners, that's your next assignment.
I think I might actually be able to pull that one off.
Do it.
Oh my God, do it. Also, listeners, you haven't turned in any of your assignments. You are currently failing this course. See me after class.
Yeah, seriously. I'm very disappointed in all of you.
We're teasing. But also, if anyone ever did draw us something, we would die.
Yes.
And talk about it for 8 years. So
yeah. You would get
if
like
you
a
want
full
validation,
episode.
if you want validation, we'll give it to you. Okay, where the fuck are we?
I don't know. We're at a ship. 6B.
Okay, here we are. Yeah. So after the collide, Shoto's team now has the 10 million point headband, and Izuku's team has jack shit. Meanwhile, Monoma and Katsuki are still fucking fighting. This whole episode is so messy. So Katsuki's team ultimately like wins this confrontation between them once and for all. And Toshi theorizes that this is because Katsuki's determination and tenacity carried him and his team farther.
Yep. And also like that tenacity and determination basically allowed him to break a quirk, which is like essentially a superpower, with just a punch. So like he's on a whole other level if you look at it that way. But also Katsuki, darling, my son, stop concussing your boyfriend, please.
But yeah, no, I thought like the same thing. Poor Kiri's just over there getting hammered.
In my original notes, I didn't put this in the timeline, but even I had a comment that was like, Katsuki, quit hitting your friends. So we're all agreed.
It's how he shows affection. It's not great, but that's what it is. Also, this whole bit like where Toshi is like appreciating it, and also Aizawa is appreciating Katsuki's determination. Like it's another like point in the column for Bakugo becoming Dad Zawa's and Dad Knight's second born. So
yes. Yes. Oh, I love this. I love it. So yeah, Katsuki and his team win. They get Monoma's headbands or something. I can't remember exactly how that goes down.
They get everything.
Yeah, they get everything. I was pretty sure, but I couldn't quite remember in this moment. But yeah, so that happens. And then Katsuki's like, all right, next we're going after Izuku because tunnel vision.
Yep. Because trauma.
Yeah. My God. So cut back to Izuku and Shoto. Shoto fires up.
Get out. I didn't even notice that the first time around. Get out.
Leave.
I'm going to keep doing this. You can't stop me. But anyway, Shoto uses his fire quirk without meaning to, and Izuku is able to block his arm / blow out the fire using One for All without completely breaking his arm. So that's cool for Izuku. That's, progress. Yay. Meanwhile, Shoto realizes what he's done, and he has like a moment with a capital M. And while he's distracted, Izuku is able to grab one of the headbands that Shoto has around his neck. And he tries to guess which one is a 10 million point headband. He thinks it's the one on top, but he guesses wrong, unfortunately. So then the 10-second countdown starts. There's this final rush for the 10 million point headband. So Izuku's going for it. Katsuki's going for it. Shoto's trying to keep it. But nothing comes of it, we think.
Yep. And just in this moment, the Tododekubaku ship sails into the sunset, but also Katsuki just like falling onto the ground.
Once again, Katsuki jumps away from his team, breaking the rules.
Yep. That moment was so funny.
Oh, my poor son.
But also, this is the moment we all knew our lives would never be the same.
For real. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we were going to be stuck worrying about these idiots forever. Yep. So yeah, cavalry battle over. Timer runs out and only the top 4 teams can go on to the next round. So Shoto's team is first, obviously, because they had the 10 million point headband. Katsuki's team is second. He is extremely upset about that. Shinso's team sneaks into third, and we'll learn more about that in the next episode. But
just for a second here, I just realized this is like the 5th time I've watched season 2, and this is the first time I'm realizing that Izuku wins 1 round, Shoto wins 1 round, and Katsuki wins 1 round. Why did this slip my mind? Why did I not see? Why?
Well, I didn't either.
And like, obviously, like Katsuki, spoilers, we'll get to it, but like, it's there. Why cannot
it's because it's the big 3. Yeah. I noticed it, but I noticed it, but didn't notice it until like you said it. I'm like, oh yeah. It's one of those things.
Yeah. Anyway.
But also, Katsuki was vibrating.
He was vibrating.
Rage.
Poor little Yuga on Shinso's team. He was also vibrating, but like having a moment like apart from the other 2 members of the team. Yeah, he was struggling for some reason.
Yeah, we will talk about that soon.
Yeah.
But definitely make note of Shinso's teammates and their reactions, because it'll come up.
It circles so many times in the future.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like the narrative is good in that way. Oh, it's mind-blowing.
Boom.
But anyway, we then learn Izuku's team managed to sneak in 4th. And that is because in that last 10-second rush, Tokoyami was able to grab another headband from Shoto. And although he didn't get the 10 million point headband, the one he was able to grab was high enough to let them qualify for the next round. And of course, everyone's just so relieved. There's just this like crazy reaction of like, oh my God, we did it. And I'm going to throw in another candidate for Izuku's true quirk, which is tears, because he starts crying so hard that not only does it create like a twin fountain effect, but his knees slam so hard to the ground that he leaves like divots in the earth.
Yeah, Izuku just like sank. Also, can we appreciate how sweet a Chaco is just by petting Dark Shadow like the goodest boy he is?
Yes.
Oh, that was so cute.
Also, Shoto's angst in that moment is just like palpable. And I just want to hug this poor child if he consents to being hugged. Oh,
aw.
My angsty baby. I am so ready for the next episode, but also like not ready either.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting that like Shoto's team wins, but Shoto doesn't even notice because he's still having a moment.
Yeah. Poor thing.
So then, cavalry battle's over. Everyone leaves the stadium, and President Mike announces that the next round of the competition will start in an hour. So the kids disperse. They're all talking amongst each other, and it's nice that there don't really seem to be any hard feelings between kids on the winning teams versus kids on the losing teams. Like some kids are obviously frustrated, but they're not taking it out on each other.
And also like PM immediately turning to his husband and be like, let's get lunch in his office. Just like a nap sounds good right about now. Let him rest. He's still covered in bandages. Also, God, that feels so long ago.
I know.
Oh God.
This poor man. Also, as they're like having that little conversation, Momo like immediately meets up with her girlfriend, Jiro. And like, it's right there. Horikoshi. We know what you're doing.
So then we cut away from the students to a random corridor, or it's possibly the obstacle course entrance corridor. I wasn't entirely clear on that. But anyway, Shoto has dragged Izuku there so they can have a capital T talk.
And now they kiss.
Christ.
Kissing is later.
Two very different reactions.
So different. And then we cut away from the corridor and we land on Endeavor. And All Might finds Endeavor and is like, hey, let's go grab some tea. And I just want to note right here, although we'll discuss it more later, it's interesting that Toshi has switched to his All Might form specifically for this interaction with Endeavor.
Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's because Endeavor doesn't actually know the full story of what's going on with Toshi. But like, also he might, but he also might not have put it together. Because like I'm skeptical because he had a little too much difficulty with Hawks' cipher in season 5. So like he is not sharp. But like I think it was also so no one else would see them talking, like just in case there were any bystanders.
Yeah. I also thought the same thing. It seems like only a very select few know about All Might at this point. Since it's been very hush hush, except by All Might since he tells little kids. But that's not my point.
Izuku passed the vibe check. I keep telling you.
He's still a child.
You're not wrong. But also, that motherfucker at this point would probably have mentioned something to All Might's face if he knew.
Ugh,
yeah,
he would.
I 100% think Toshi is actively hiding his health issues from his main rival. Because like, even though Toshi doesn't necessarily play into the competition aspect as much as other heroes do, like he's definitely incredibly old-fashioned when it comes to like admitting weaknesses. Because, as we'll discuss later, presentation is everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So then after that, we get the closing credits and then a cute little post-credit scene. So it's Inko. She's still watching the competition and she's sobbing because she's super proud of Izuku, but also worried that he'll get hurt. And I love her. I'm so glad that they're adding these in.
I know. They're great.
Yes, those are nice. They're a little bit of a happiness.
Yes.
And so much hurt.
Yep. Just a sprinkle of serotonin amidst all the pain. So now we're going to pivot a bit to the discussion topics now that we've finished the episode synopsis. And we're going to start with one of Fern's notes about parallels.
Yeah, I just noticed that there were a ton of them. So we can just blitz through them really quickly. So one of them I noticed that was pretty obvious was like Izuku and his determination for group success versus Katsuki aiming for personal success. This is, pretty typical one, but I just thought it was interesting that it was so prevalent in this episode.
Yeah, it's prevalent as it starts the protect and prevail theme that threads through this whole thing.
Yeah, and well, we're at this point, there's a certain someone that still has to, go through some personal development.
Oh, yeah.
Gee.
Yeah, the way that flip-flops the way that flip-flops later is so interesting.
Great.
And then, similarly, Izuku draws inspiration from others versus like Katsuki inspiring others. Because, even though people are annoyed by Katsuki, there's this moment where he's like full of rage. He's like, no, we're freaking going for it. And then all of his teammates were like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to go for it. So I thought that was interesting. And then, Izuku is kind of starting to aim for a balance between inspiring and being inspired, which is definitely expanded upon as a theme later. So all that groundwork is laid so early.
Yeah. And like Izuku is finally realizing that like just being a fanboy isn't going to carry him forward nearly as much as actually being himself.
Boom! Mic drop. Oh, that was good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then the last big one I noticed was like the difference between All Might hiding his small might form from Endeavor versus like Izuku being very open with Katsuki. Well, way more open than he should have been about how he got his power. And just like, they're already approaching like the concept of rivalry and competition in just really different ways.
Yep. And my only note for that was a cursed ship that now upon thinking about it, I'm not even going to mention because I don't want that curse to come to our podcast. So we're just going to move right along. We're not going to touch it. I don't know why I brought it up. I was tired. It's fine. So the next discussion topic we're going to go through is hero-like behavior.
Yeah. So as we kind of already mentioned, like the new generation, like Izuku and Katsuki and like all of Class 1A and 1B to a certain extent, like they just approach rivalry and competition like very differently than previous generations. And like there's already more emphasis on teamwork instead of individualism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And also, I thought it was a little sad that neither Monoma nor Bakugo's personalities are like being supported by their teammates / classmates / friends at this point, mainly because I just love Monoma and Bakugo's characters. And like it is early on in all of their relationships, but like if they really do want to work as a team, they need to embrace each other's strengths and just not only the noble coded personality traits that you always think of for heroes.
Yeah.
Then again, Monoma really just needs to stop triggering people just because it lends itself to his copy ability. Like he only does it because it ratchets up their emotional response. So they just dive in close to him without thinking so he can get that touch in. Like, I get it, but also that's a very not nice strategy, Monoma. Just no, stop. Also, Katsuki never did anything wrong ever. Just JK, just he has done several things very wrong. I know this, but he's my son. It's fine. Also, in this moment, he is in a trigger spiral. So I'm going to give him a little bit more of leeway for his attitude issues than a lot of people might.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I also think it's important to remember that you're not always going to be liked if you're, and that's something both are. Oh God, Spartan!
Hi, Spartan. Hi, sweet boy.
He's acting up. Anywho.
Yeah, just start from the beginning.
Anywho, I think it's important to remember that not always are you going to be liked, and that is something that both of them are not looking for. Mm-hmm. They are arrogant, and listeners, please don't come at me for this. But that's just part of their upbringing. They don't have to be the most likable personalities at the beginning. And I think that's why they rub people the wrong way. Mm-hmm. But they do grow and develop as time goes on. And their classmates tend to realize that there's probably more than what they show from the get-go.
Yes. A perfect, wonderful point. And just me as a person, I always love the arrogant little dick characters. So I just love them. And being the arrogant character, it's just hard for them to get the love and support that they need from the actual characters and also from the fandom who always, or just fandoms in general tend to like the nicer characters more vocally than the not nice characters.
Yeah. My feeling is like in this specific episode, I think it's really their actions that are being critiqued more than their personalities. And their actions are causing harm to themselves and others. So these specific critiques are deserved. However, like I think you've definitely hit right on the money that like some personalities, and this goes both in real life and in fandom, some personalities attract more criticism than others, like in a way that isn't always fair, just because certain behaviors look better or worse. And again, Hero Society is all about presentation and branding. And we do see that play out in this series in a big ass way. You see my comments in an earlier episode about Ida and Katsuki. And then I also think it's interesting that like, as far as Monoma goes, like most viewers, including us, like, cause none of us liked Monoma in the beginning and we only warmed up to him later. Like we kind of fell into that pattern automatically ourselves. And then Horikoshi called us out on it pretty loudly later.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
We're
critiquing. Yeah, no, we're critiquing, but we also recognize like our own failings and that we fall into a lot of these patterns ourselves.
Because they're very natural patterns to fall into, and that's why we're over analyzing them.
Yep.
All right. Yep. And then I had like another sub point to that, and just wondering about all of quote unquote hero like behavior like in this world. And I wonder if it's also a parallel to like the real life ways that the approach to being a celebrity are changing. You know, older generations have always treated celebrity and themselves as celebrity as if they were different selves, like different
celebrity as an othering concept. Yeah.
Yeah. And they other themselves too. Like there's the celebrity me and then there's the me. Just you can look back at older celebrities and kind of see that dichotomy. But now like younger kids, like really Gen Z and younger, I think they're all realizing that that dichotomy is just all bullshit, and that transparency and actually being genuine and being your own self in the public eye is always better, even if it gets you less quote unquote likes, because creating a persona of yourself that is not yourself doesn't get any part of the job done.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Somebody's meowing at me.
Meow.
Okay, sorry.
It's not Lucifer this time.
The pets have been acting up today.
They have. All right.
Yeah, the door is cracked so that Lucifer can shove her little body in instead of having like a meltdown at the door, because there's an entire door separating her and me.
I love her meltdown though. I support her. Anyway, also there is like a much smaller parallel to the what's a hero, what's a villain debate throughout the series. We always just see it more with Shinso than we do with Monoma, like mainly because Shinso gets a little more airtime.
Yeah.
So with Katsuki, him like having these villain like tendencies, quote unquote, that's like always observed and always analyzed a bunch too. But like they're all there, all three of them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like this specific episode focuses more on like hero-like behavior, but the next few episodes and then like the rest of the series really shows the reverse side of that coin, where now that we're questioning like the qualities of a hero, now we've got to question the qualities of a villain and just like the breakdown of those things as static concepts.
Yep, for sure. And definitely digging into why hero qualities may not actually be that heroic, but we will get to it.
Yep.
All right. Our next point is tenacity.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that Horikoshi goes to a lot of trouble to establish this theme of like, you know, tenacity will get you farther. Having like really, really big, grandiose goals will get you farther, even if you don't necessarily hit that exact goal. And so like, you know, he really invests in that theme early on in the show. And then later on in the show, he kind of like turns it inside out and reveals that actually there's a lot more complexity to that theme than is usually acknowledged. And I just thought that was a really interesting way to approach it. This is just me admiring his writing ability. Really, I'm very jealous.
Yep, very jealous. He does everything so beautifully, and I hate him. All right.
He's amazing.
And then he has to ruin it with perversion.
Yeah, thanks, Shoni.
He's amazing, but I hate it.
Yep. Yep.
All right. And then I had 2 points that were not nearly as intellectual as Fern's wonderful points were. Apparently this episode, I was just really involved with all the ships that were being laid out for us. So my discussion point is that Dark Shadow and Pino from World Heroes Mission are actually the ship to end all ships, and they must get married.
Yeah, never really thought about it, but they are burbs, so I guess.
Yeah, burbs.
Gay birds, gay birds, gay birds, gay birds, gay birds. Also, I have no clue what Pino's gender is, but it doesn't matter. The ship is gay.
Yes.
It doesn't, it just is.
Exactly.
Also, right. This is by far the most intellectual point we've ever made, in my opinion.
No, incorrect. But thank you for trying to make me feel better.
I'm far more invested in that.
That's true. Any chance to like ship the like slightly like animal partner things like with each other, that's all you need in a show. All gay right birds. And then gay birds, that's our point. And like also a final shipping thing. You're sick of me, I know you are, but
we're not.
The listeners probably are, but like how has no one been shipping Momo and Denki after their identical gobsmacked looks during this cavalry battle, and also their proximity?
They do work extremely well together.
Yeah. Like, why is that not there? Why is that not a thing?
Imagine Jiro's face if she found out they were dating each other. She
would explain.
I think she like, it'd be like watching a computer crash. Like she'd just be like, I am done. I cannot compute. This is too much to handle.
Yes. And then after that, she would be like, oh no, it's hot. But anyway.
So many conflicting feelings. So they would just overwhelm her.
So much crisis happening in her one little musical body. All right. Just moving right along to the manga differences and Easter eggs. There was like no differences in the manga other than like, the dialogue and like sometimes the panel will move up and down. There's no big differences in these two. Just the only thing is that Inko scene is anime only. So.
And again, I love those.
Yes, they're perfect. Okay. And then my last point is kind of an Easter egg, kind of a fan theory. But basically, it's that moment where Monoma steals Kirishima's quirk while they're fighting. Like, aside from that, probably contributing to the hatred, dislike, just grr feelings that Eiichiro feels towards Monoma. I do wonder if like at a deeper level, it really triggered and compounded his self-esteem issue about not having a quirk that lets him stand out in the way that he thinks he needs to stand out. This is not fully explored until season 4. And also, how dare it take that long for us to get to Kirishima, like his whole backstory thing. But yeah, it's there and it's sad. And damn it, Monoma, stop it.
Oh, that hurt.
Yeah.
It's my poor heart.
Yeah. If it hurt me, it has to hurt you. So
I don't like that.
I didn't read through the Easter eggs because I never do.
Maria likes to be surprised.
And I am broken.
Good.
So thank you for that, Nicole.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, I love breaking my co-hosts.
I was already broken. You just added another layer.
You're welcome. Another crack.
Yep. I don't like that at all. Oh man. So I guess that's it. Is that it? Final comments? We're all just like stewing in our hurt.
Yes. I personally love that I just hurt you both as the end of this episode.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to mail you poop.
How dare you? I'm the one who told you about the poop mailing website. You can't use it against me.
Sorry, Maria. What was that?
I'm like, so since I don't want this to end like on a sad note, Nicole, why don't you tell it about your little find?
Oh, my find. Yes. Okay. So a happy little moment yesterday. Listeners, I took a silly little walk for my silly mental health. Because it was like,
one silly time.
Yeah, just one silly time because it was like actual temperate enough to go outside instead of, being winter all the time where I can't go out or I start wheezing. Anyway, so I'm walking around the block, and as I walk around the block, I always look at the ground because there could be shiny rocks on the ground. But this time I was looking at the ground and I see something. It just kind of looked like a little piece of trash, but I kind of paused because I always look for things, and I look and it looks like a person. So I like pick him up, and he's like a 2-3 inch tall little figure of, I think it's the Hello Kitty version of Kakashi from Naruto, as like a keychain, and it had fallen off.
What are those little bobblehead thingy calls, like the Funko Pop? It kind of looks like a Funko.
It kind of did. I don't think it's a Funko. I think it's just like a Hello Kitty version, but he always,
it's like an off-brand Funko.
Yes, he was so cute, and he was left behind, and he had little dog ears too. And I took him home and washed him off, and now he lives in my mushroom village.
I was so excited, and Fern and Nicole found out how much I thirst for this man.
Yes, yes.
And I do love that he reads softcore lady porn. I think that's great.
Yeah, I was about to say Fern. It's now Fern's favorite character because he reads
in a franchise
porn.
I am never going to interact with.
Agreed. Same. Yeah. We just missed the Naruto train, and we appreciate it from afar.
Too many episodes. I am sorry.
It does have a lot of episodes, and I'm still surprised that I managed to. It took me 2 years to get through it.
Dang.
Because there's two separate shows. There's Naruto when he's a kid, and then there's Naruto when he's like a teenager-ish. It was a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was just the same show.
No, not one is Naruto.
Isn't there
one,
like a third one?
Boruto. That's the one with Naruto's son.
That's right.
I have not watched that one because it sucks. Don't let me listen. It fucking sucks.
You know what though? I talked to someone about that last week, and they said it sucked too. So they straight up told me not to watch it, and I was like, cool. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to watch any of this, but thank you.
Yeah. I like I think you can skip the Naruto one. The second one is the Naruto Shippuden. That's the one where he's a teenager. And that's where you get the beautiful gloriousness of, well, Kakashi's in both of them, but like the full effect of Kakashi is in the second, in Shippuden.
Okay. Got it. All right. Well, he now lives happily in the Mushroom Village in my bookshelf.
So that makes me incredibly happy.
Very nice, as he deserves.
Yes, he does. All right. Well, this has been My Hero Analysis. You'll hear us again soon. And in the meantime, go beyond plus ultra and thirst responsibly. Bye, y'all.
Thanks again for listening. Theme music is The Happy Cowboy by Gary the Canary, remixed by Fern. If you'd like to submit questions, fan art, or bonus episode topics, visit our website at myheroanalysis.com. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok under @myheroanalysis. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Bye, y'all.